Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to solve the 2020 NECO National Common Entrance Examination. As usual, I will always advise you not to try cramming it, but try to understand it, because every year has its own question. Just note that this video is to guide you and to prepare you for your subsequent examination, and also to clarify you on some topics you might be having challenges. I will try my possible best to explain clearly, but if in case you're confused or lost, you can pause the video and preview it carefully. And lastly, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Right, let's give it a try. Alright, as usual, we know that the examination is often divided into two parts. We have the Part A, which is mathematics and basic science, and Part B, which is English and social studies. But in this video, I'm going to focus on the mathematics only. And as we know that in every examination, there are instructions to guide the candidates. So you can as well go through it, because time might not allow us to do that. So here are the rules. Alright, with this, let's start. Alright, the first question we have here is write 6,300,009 in figures. So the best way to go with this is to take the statement in sections. Whenever you see comma, you stop. So we have 6 million, and we know 6 million is having 6 zeros, right? So we have 6 with 6 zeros. 6 million, right? Then we have 300,000, and we know 300,000 is having 5 zeros. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. Then we have n9, which is unit. So just write 9. Then draw the line. Add it. 0 here we have 9. Then we have 0, 0, 0, 0, 3. Then we have 6. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? So this is 6,300,009. So let's check our options. So from our option now, the answer is D. Let's move to the next question. Number 2 says, how many minutes are there in 660 seconds, right? So how many minutes are there in 660 seconds? So how are we going to go about it? We know that 1 minute is equals to 60 seconds, right? And we have to convert this 60 seconds. So that means we don't know the number of minutes, right? So x minutes will give us this number of seconds, 660 seconds. So whenever arranging this, you should make sure you have seconds and seconds, and you have minutes and minutes, so that it will rhyme. So going by this, you will cross multiply here and this. If you cross multiply, you will be having 60 times x is equals to 660 times 1, and 60 times x is 60x, right? Equals to 660 times 1 is still same thing as 660. So remember that whenever you have a number with an alphabet and you want to find the alphabet, you divide it by the coefficient. The coefficient is simply the number multiplied by the alphabet. So you divide both sides by the coefficient. So we're going to divide both sides. Whatever you do to the left, you have to do it to the right. So you divide both sides by the coefficient, which is 60. Divide this one by 60. So this cancels this, right? Then 660 divided by 60. Of course, you know that this 0 can cancel this 0. And 6 into this is what? Is 11. So the answer here is 11. So therefore x is equals to 11 minutes. Let's check our option. Do we have anything like 11 minutes? Yes. Let's move to the next question. Right, question 3 says write in words. We have 2001, 201. So the simplest way to go with this is using the place value. Always write the place value on top of the numbers. So let's try it and see. We know that this one is unit, this one is tens, this one is hundred, this one is thousand, this one is tens of thousands, ten of thousands, then you have hundred of thousands, then you have millions, right? So group them in threes. You have 1 2 3 comma 1 2 3 comma. So now using the place value, now you can see that we have 2 million, right? So you can write 2 million, then comma, because we have a comma here. Then we have, do we have anything here? This is 0 0. Then we have 1000 1000 comma, then we have 200 200, we have no tens, and we have and 1, that's the unit, and 1. So it's 2,001,201. The answer is D, 2,001,201. So let's move to the next question. All right, question 4 says, what is the place value of 2 in 8.217? So what is the place value of 2, right? So let's check the place value of 2. But remember that the place value of whole numbers is different from the place value of decimal numbers. While in whole numbers we start with unit, this is the whole number part, because any number before the decimal part is called the whole number. So this one starts with unit, and right, then after the decimal point, which is this, the decimal point, we start with tenths. There's no unit, we start with tenths. It ends with THS. So this one is tenths. Then the next one is what? Hundredths. Then after the hundredths, we have thousands. Can you see? So now we are asked to find the place value of 2, of these two. Of course, 2 is what? 2 is tenths. So our answer is 2 tenths. 2 tenths. So let's check our option. Do you have anything like 2 tenths? Of course, is D, right? So that's the answer. Let's move to the next question, question 5. Question 5 says, convert 12.4865 to 3 decimal places. So we have 12.4865 to what? 3 decimal places. So now what are we going to do? We are simply going to move this decimal point, this one, in 3 places. So we'll move it 3 places to the right. We have 1 2 3, right? So but now you have to check the next number. The next number is what? 5, right? Is it up to 5? Yes. If it is up to 5, you're going to round it up. That means you're going to add 1 to this number 6 close to it, right? But if it is not up to 5, you will just what? Round it down. That means you forget about it. But since it is up to 5, that means you're going to add to this 6, making it what? Going to be plus 1, which is going to be 7. So now our new number is going to be 12.48. Instead of 6, now it will be 7 because it has been rounded up. So now our answer is 12.487. So let's check our option. From our option, the answer is C. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 6 says, convert 0.004 to percentage. So we have to convert 0.004 to what? To percentage. So in order to convert 0.004 to percentage, we'll have to convert it into fraction, right? Then we'll now convert it to a percentage. And in order for you to convert this into fraction, how are you going to do? We are going to move this decimal point and divide by the number of zeros. So we have 1 2 3, right? So 3. In fraction now, these zeros now will be omitted. We are having only 4 as a real number. Any zero you have before the number will be omitted. So now it will be 4 over. Now how many times did you move? 3 times. So we'll divide by 1 with 3 zeros. Can you see? 1000. And remember, we are changing it to percentage. And what is the meaning of percentage? Is 100. So we're going to simply multiply it by 100. You can balance it with 1. So these two zeros will go with these two zeros. You're left with what? You're left with 4 over 10. Is that not? So using long division, we're going to have 4 divided by 10. Is that not? So 4 divided by 10. Is it possible? Of course, it's not possible. It's going to give us 0, right? 4 cannot divide by 10. Put 0, right? And add a 0 here. It will be 40. Now, 40 divided by 10 is 4. Is that not? So we have 4. And 4 times the 10 is 40. So put 40 here and subtract 0, 0. Since we have 0, 0, so the answer is 0.4. Can you see? So if you convert 0.004 to percentage, you're going to have 0.4%. So that is the answer. So let's check our options. From our option, the answer is A. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 7 says Amaka and Amina shared 2,800. If Amaka gets thrice of Amina's share, how much did Amina get? Right? So how can we go about this? Do we know the amount Amina and Amaka got after they shared it? No, we don't know. So we can say that Amina is X. Amina got X, right? And Amaka, remember we said the question said Amaka get thrice. That's 3 times that of Amina. So Amaka will get 3 times that of Amina. Can you see? So which is equal to 3 times X is 3X. Can you see? So now remember that they shared 2,800 naira. So if you add that of Amina and Amaka, you should be able to get 2,000 naira. So we said Amina plus Amaka, because Amaka is 3 times that of Amina, plus Amaka, which is 3 times that of Amina, will be equal to 2,800. Can you see? So X plus 3X is just like saying a cow plus 3 cows, right? And a cow plus 3 cows is 4 cows. So X plus 3X is going to give us 4X. So we have 4X is equal to 2,800. So divide both sides by the coefficient of X as we've seen in the earlier question. So we have divide by 4 and divide by 4. And see? So 28 divided by 4. This 28 divided by 4 is 7. Remember we have 2 zeros there. So it was 700 times. That means Amina, which is X, will be equal to 700 naira. So Amina's share will be 700 naira. So how much did Amina get? Will be 700 naira. So from our option, the answer is E. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 8 says that 8 years ago, Odibo, sorry if I pronounce it wrongly, was 48 years old. How old will he be in 6 years' time? So remember that this 48 years was 8 years ago. So if you want to know his present age, you're going to add 8 years because it was 8 years ago. So we say 8 years ago, he was what? 48 years. So for present age now, you want to know his present age, you simply say what? 48 plus what? 8. Can you see? So he was 8 years ago that he was 48. So if you want to know his present age, you will say what? 48 plus 8. So 48 plus 8 is 56, right? So present age is what? 56 years. So now, since we know his present age, the question says how old will he be in 6 years' time? So in 6 years' time, it's simply for us to carry the present age and add plus 6, right? So in 6 years' time, he'll be what? 56 plus 6, right? And 56 plus 6, we have 6 plus 6 is 12, carry 1, 6, 5 plus empty plus 1 is 6, 5 plus 1 is 6. So he will be 62 years old in 6 years' time. It's going to be 62 years. So let's check our options. For my option, the answer is D, right? So first add the previous years, which is 8 years, you get his present age, then add the 6 years will give us the future age. That means in 6 years time. So let's see number 9. Alright, question 9 says that two men shared the cost of a business in the ratio of 3 to ratio 5, right? If the smaller share is 450 naira, so smaller share 450 naira. All right, find the total cost of the business. So now, do we know the total cost of the business? Of course it's no. So we said let the cost of business be what? Be x. Be x, right? So now know how we deal with ratio. Remember that the smaller share is 450, and from our ratio, this is the smaller share 3, right? And this is the larger share. So as we know in ratio, in order for us to get the amount for each of the two men, we simply add the ratio. So we are going to say 3 plus 5, and we're going to have 8, right? In order for us to get the cost of business using the smaller share, so we're going to say the smaller share 3 over the total ratio, which is 8, am I right, times the total cost of the business, which is x, we don't know. And we know for the smaller share it was what, 450, right? So equals to 450 naira. So we are dealing with that of the smaller share. So for the bigger share, it would have been what, 5 over 8 times the total amount, which is 8, equals to, but we don't know that one. So that's why we are using the smaller share, since its information has been given. So what we're going to do, balance on one. You said 3 times x is 3x over 8 times 1 is 8, is equals to 450. So cross multiply, we have 8 times 450 and we have 3x times 1, right? So 3x times 1 is same thing as 3x, equals to 450 times 8, because we're cross multiplying. And 450 times 8, we have 3x is equals to, so let's multiply the 450 up here. 450 times 8. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 5 is 40. Put 0, carry 4. 8 times 4 is 32. And 32 plus 4 is 36. Right? So we have 36. So 3x goes to 3,600. So divide both sides by 3. 3. So 3 cancel this, right? So we have 3 here is 1. 3 into 36 is 12. And we have our 2 zeros up here. So x is also 1,200 naira. So this is the cost of the business. This is the x that we are looking for. So you always use that part that is having a complete information. That's why we use the smaller. Since the smaller 3 ratio is, the smaller share is 450, right? So let's check our options. Of course, from our option, the answer is D. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 10 says find the value of 10 square plus 9 square. This is very simple. What is the meaning of 10 square? That means 10 in two places. So which is 10 times 10. Remember that it is not 10 times 2, because that's the mistake that a lot of pupils are making. It's 10 times 10, not 10 times 2, right? So 10 in two places plus 9 in two places. That's 9 times 9, right? So 10 times 10, let's multiply 10 times 10. 0 times 0 is 0, 0 times 1 is 0, 1 times 0 is 0, 1 times 1 is 1. So 100. So this is 100 plus 9 times 9 is actually 81. So I have 81. So we're going to simply add 181. We will give you 181. So 181. So let's check our option. So from our option, the answer is D. So let's move to the next question. So question 11 says, a man bought 500 oranges and gave out 30% of them. How many oranges does the man has left? So remember that he bought 500 oranges. So number of oranges, 500, right? And he gave out 30%. So gave out 30%. So how many oranges does he have left? What you need to do here is you have to find the number of oranges he has given out. Remember that it's only in percentage that we were given. So we have to convert this percentage into number of oranges. After getting the number of oranges, then we'll subtract it from the total number of oranges. Then we'll know how many oranges we have left. He'll be half left. So now let's see. So remember that 30% of what? Of 500 oranges. So what is meaning of 30% is simply 30 over 100 of, which is times 500 oranges. So this zero cancel is two zeros. You're left with what? You're left with 30 times 5. So let's multiply up here. 30 times 5. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 3 is 15. So the number of oranges given out, number of oranges given out is equal to 150 oranges. Right? So now this is not our answer. Remember, we are looking for the number of oranges that is left. So we're going to say total oranges, total minus gave out. What's the total oranges? The total oranges was 500 minus 150. These are the number of oranges you gave out. So let's subtract it. 500 minus 100 minus 150. 0 remain 4. Put 1 here. 10 minus 5 is 5. And 4 minus 1 is 3. So he is left with 350 oranges. So the answer is 350. So let's check our options. So from our option, the answer is B. So let's move. So question 12 says how many 2.2 kg of salt can be taken from a bag containing 105.6 kg, right? So now imagine you have a bag of salt, right? You have a bag of salt and it is 105.6 kg. So how many of 2.2 kg will be taken from here? So minus 2.2 kg. So how many? How can you get 2.2 kg? How many of them from here? The simplest thing is just what? To say 105.6 divided by 2.2. So if you can do that, you'll be able to know the number of 2.2 that are contained inside this bag. Can you see? So just divide it, and in dividing this, you will have, remember we said it's 105.6 divided by 2.2. So the best thing is convert this to fraction first so that we can divide it easily. So in converting this, we know that we move this one once, so we are going to have 1056 over, we move it once, so divide by 10, 10, right? So divide by, this one will move once, we're going to have 22 over, we have moved it once, so we have 10. So take reciprocal, and remember when you take reciprocal is just for you to change this to multiplication and turn the second fraction upside down. So we're going to have 1056 over 10 times what? 10 over 22. So we know that this 10 will go with this 10. Is that not? Then we know that 2 here is 11 and 2 here is going to be 528. What can go? 11 can still go, right? 11 here is 1. 11, 500 into 528 is equal to 48. So we can get 48 out of 48. So there are 48 2.2 kg, in 105.6 and 5.6 kg. So the answer is 48. So let's check. So the answer is actually A. So remember, you just divide it, right? Just divide it. Next question. All right. Question 13 says, a mango costs 10 naira. What is the cost of 10 mangoes at the same price? Can you see? So remember that a mango, that's one mango, costs 10 naira. Then what's the cost of 10 mangoes? So 10 mangoes will be what? We don't know the amount of 10 mangoes. Can you see? So cross multiply. If you cross multiply, you're going to have 1 times x equals to 10 times 10. And 1 times x equals to 10 times 10. 10 times 10. 0 times 0 and 0 times 1 is 0. 1 times 0, 0. 1 times 1, 1. So you have 0, 0, 1. So the answer is 100, what? 100 naira. So let's check the option. Do you have 100 naira? Yes. The answer is A. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 14 says, simplify one whole number 1 over 2 minus 1 over 3 divided by 2 over 3 plus 1. So the first thing is to check whether we have a mixed fraction in which we have 1 here. So now we'll change it to improper fraction, right? So in changing it to improper fraction, we said 1 times 2, which is 2 plus 1, which is 3. 3 over the denominator, right? We have 3 over 2 minus 1 over 3 divided by 2 over 3 plus 1. You can balance this one with 1. So the next thing is to check what are we going to, which operation are we going to follow first. Remember both mass, bracket of division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So we're going to deal with, do you have bracket? No. Do you have of? No, but we have division. So this division, and in dealing with divisions in fraction, we have to take the reciprocal, right? So say take, in taking reciprocal, we know that the division will change to multiplication and the fraction next to it will turn upside down. So we're going to have 3 over 2 minus 1 over 3 times, now instead of division because of reciprocal, and we'll turn this will be 3 over 2 then plus 1 over 1. So is there anything that can cancel? Yes, 3 can cancel 3 one time, right? 3 divided by 3 is 1. Having what? 3 over 2 minus 1 times 1 is 1, right? So we have 1 over 1 times this 2. Since we have multiplication here, that's why we are multiplying. It's going to be 1 times 2 is 2. Remember, we have plus 1 over 1. These are 1 over 1. So what next? Since the denominators are different, we'll take the LCM. And what's the LCM? If we take the LCM is 2. 2 divided by 2. This 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1 times this 3 is 3. Then we write 3. Bring down your minus sign. Minus 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 1 times the numerator 1 is 1. Plus our plus sign. 2 divided by 1 is 2. And 2 times 1 is 2. So we have 3 minus 1 is 2. Plus 2 is 4. So we have equals to 4 over 2. And 4 divided by 2, 1 here is 2. So our answer is 2. So let's check our options. So from our option, the answer is B. Let's move to the next question. Alright. Number 15 says, which of the following is not the factor of 60? So the question is, what is then a factor? We know that a factor is a number that is divisible by another number without any remainder, right? So the simplest way to go with this is to check through the options. Are you there? If there is any number that 60 can divide by that number without any remainder, then that means it's a factor of 60, right? So now the question says it's not. So any number that cannot divide 60 without any remainder is not a factor of 60. So let's see. The first one is 6. So we're going to say what? 60 divided by 6. Of course, 60 divided by 6 is 10. So that means 6 is a factor, right? So A is not the answer. So B is 8. So 60 divided by 8. Of course, if you divide it 7 times, remainder 4, right? Can you see? So you can see that this 8 is not actually 60 is not divisible by 8, right? It's actually divisible, but there is always a remainder. So 8 might likely be the answer, but let's check it. The next one is 12, right? So 60 divided by 12, and 60 divided by 12 is actually 5. Can you see? Then the next one, D, is 15. So 60 divided by 15 is actually 4. And lastly, we have 30. So 60 divided by 30 is 2. So among these option is 8 that is not divisible, right? So 60 is not divisible by 8. So that means the answer is B. Next question. All right. Question 16 says find the LCM. That's the least or lowest common multiple of 16, 32, and 40. So we're going to find the lowest common multiple of 16, 32, and 40. So how we're going to do? We use the prime factor method, which is the easiest way. So we're going to set 16, then draw a line, 32, draw a line, then 40, then draw a line here. Then we have this. So now, what is the first and the lowest prime number that can go into any of these numbers? And remember that prime numbers are those numbers that are only divisible by 1 and themselves. So which is 2. 2 is only divisible by 2 and 1, right? It's only 2 that can divide 2 and 1. So that means 2 is the first prime number. So we have 2, right? So 16 divided by 2 is 8. 32 divided by 2 is 16. 40 divided by 2 is 20, right? So can 2 still go? Yes, 2 can go into 8, 16, and 20. So we use 2 again. So we have 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 16 divided by 2 is 8. And 20 divided by 2 is 10. 2 can still go. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Can 2 still go? Of course, yes, because 2 can go into 2 and 4. So we still use 2. We're going to say 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 5 divided by 2 is not possible. It's possible, but there will be remainder, right? Remember, we're looking for numbers that will divide without any remainder. So since there will be remainder, we'll still write the 5 back. Can you see? So can 2 still go? Of course, yes. 2 can still go into this. So we'll still use 2. So 1 divided by 2, still write the 1 back. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 5 divided by 2 is not possible. Write the 5 back. Then lastly, 2 cannot go because there's no number that 2 can divide. 3 cannot go because there's no number can divide that 3 can divide. Then the next prime number is 5. So 1 divided by 5, then 1 divided by 5, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So now our LCM is just multiply all the numbers in red, right? We're going to have 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. Then 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 times 2 is 32. And 32 is 160. So let's check our option. Do you have anything? Yes, like that. Do you have anything like that? Yes, A. So the answer is A. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 17 says arrange in descending order of magnitude. So what is descending order? What's the meaning of descending order? Descending order means from the biggest fraction to the smallest. Right? So from the biggest to the smallest. And remember we have 5 over 6, comma, 4 over 15, comma, 9 over 10. And we have 4 over 5. So these are the fractions. But do you think we can compare these fractions by mere seeing them? Of course, no. Remember that whenever you are arranging fractions in order, you make sure the denominators are the same. But you can see that these ones, that all the denominators are different. So what are we going to do? The simplest thing to do is to find the lowest common multiple of all the denominators. So draw a line. Find the lowest common multiple of 6, 15, 10, and 5. So we said, can you see? So now, what can go? Of course, using the prime factor as we have seen earlier, 2 can go. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 15 cannot go into 2, we write the 15 back. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 cannot go, write the 5 back. Can 2 go? No, 2 cannot go. Next one, 3 can go. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 15 divided by 3 is 3. Is 5. 5 divided by 5 cannot. 5 divided by 3 cannot. It will always have remainder, so we write the 5 back. 5 divided by 3, write the 5 back, right? Next, 3 cannot go. 5 can go. So 1 divided by 5 is 1. 5 divided by 5, 1. 5 divided by 5, 1. 5 divided by 5, 1. So what is our LCM? Our LCM is 2 times 3 times 5. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. So we have 30. That's our LCM. So our LCM is 30. So we're going to say 30 divided by 6 is what? 5. But you're not going to write the 5, but you're going to say the 5 you got times this numerator, which is 5. So remember, 30 divided by 6 is 5, and 5 times 5 is 25. So write the 25 here, comma. Then we have 30 divided by 15 is 2, and 2 times 4 is 8. So write the 8 there, comma. We have 30 divided by 10 is 3, and 3 times 9 is 27. So write 27. 30 divided by 5 is 6, and 6 times 4 is 24. So we're going to have 24, right? So now we're going to write this number, these multiples that I've gotten, these numbers that I've gotten here will be the numerator, and this one will be the common denominator for all of the numerators. So we'll have 25 over 30, comma, 8 over 30, comma, 27 over 30, comma, and 24 over 30. Can you see? So now remember, we're going to arrange them in descending order. You are not going to arrange these fractions, right? But rather we're going to arrange these ones. So we're going to use these ones that we've gotten as reference to give us the key to arrange this one. So let me show you. Remember, in descending order, we're going to start with the biggest one. So what is the biggest fraction among them? So the biggest fraction among them is the one that have the highest, is the one that has the highest numerator, and the highest numerator is 27, which is from here, and which is 9 over 10. So the biggest fraction is 9 over 10. 9 over 10, comma. The next one is what? 25, right? This 25 over 30, which is from here, and this is this fraction. 5 over 6. 5 over 6. The next one is what? 24 over 30, which is this, and is 4 over 5. 4 over 5. Then lastly, we have 8 over 30, which is from here, and it is this fraction. We have 8 over 30, which is from here, and it is 4 over 15. 4 over 15. Can you see? So now let's check, do we have anything like that? Of course, it is E. So that is the arrangement in descending order. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 18 says, find the sum of 10.32, 10.32, comma, 0.18, 0.18, comma, 9.13, 9.13, and 2.4. So the most important thing and the most confusing thing about this is that pupils used to have is the arrangement of the numbers. So the arrangement is the most important thing here. So let's arrange it. In arranging this, carry the first number, which is 10.32, write it down, 10.32. Then the second number, which is 0.18, said put the point first. Then before the point is 0. Can you see? Make sure they are aligned. Then after the point we have 1, and after the 1 we have 8. Can you see? Then take the next number, 9.13. Put the point first. Before the point we have 9. After the point we have 1, and after 1 we have 3. Right? Next one is 2.4. Put the point. Before the point is 2, and after the point is 4. You can decide to balance them with 0, all the empty spaces, so that you can see them aligning, having straight line. So can you see? Now we can add it. 2 plus 8 is 10, and 10 plus 3 is 13. Put 3, carry 1. Then 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 1, 5. Plus 1, 6. 6 plus 10, 6 plus 4 is 10. So put 0 and put your point, carry 1. Then 1 plus 9 is this 9 here. 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. Put 2, carry 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. So our answer is 22.03. So 22.03 is E. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 19 says a boy divides 54 by y and the result is 6. Find y. Remember, we said that the boy divides 54 divide by y, and the result, that's the answer. The result is 6. So how are we going to do? You can put it in this form. 54 divided by y is equals to 6. Balance this with 1. Remember that whenever you have equality sign between fractions, you can cross multiply them. So in cross multiplying them, we have this will multiply 54 will multiply by 1, and y will multiply by 6. So we're going to have what? Y times 6 is equal to 54 times 1, and y times 6 is 6y is equal to 54 times 1 is 54. So divide both sides by 6, the coefficient of y, right? So we have 6, 6. This cancels this, right? Then 54 divided by 6. What are we going to have? We're going to have 6 times 6 here is 1, and 6 here is 9. If you divide 54, count 54, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 54, and group them in 6, you're going to have 9. So y now is equals to 9. So our answer is B. So let's move to the next question. Question 20 says, given that A is equal to 17, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to 5. Find the square root of, remember, find the square root of 2A plus 2B plus C. So what are we going to do? Remember that we already know A, B, C. They are here. A is 17, B is 5, and C is 5. So we're going to substitute. Whenever we see A, we'll put 17. Whenever we see B, we'll put 5. And whenever we see C, we'll put 5. So in this equation. So let's go. 2 inside of A, we're going to put what? 17. Plus 2, wherever we see B, we're going to put what? 5. And plus C, which is also 5. So 2 times 17. So let's multiply 17 times 2. 14. 2 times 7 is 14. Put 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3. That's 34. Plus 2 times 5 is 10 plus 5. So 34 plus 10 plus 5. 4 plus 5 is 9. Put 9, carry 1. 3 plus 1. So we have, let's add it, 34 plus 10 plus 5. So 4 plus 5 is 9. Put 1 here. It's 9, right? Then put 9 here. Then 3 plus 1 is 4. So we have 49. Is that our answer? No. The question says find the square root of this equation. So we're going to find the square root of our answer. And the square root of 49 is 7. So let's check our option. So the answer is B. Let's move to the next question. Alright. Question 21 says, which of the following is not a perfect square? So the question is, what is a perfect square? A perfect square is a number that when taking the square root, you get a number without any remainder. A number that when you take the square root, you will get exactly a number without remainder. So what you need to do is to check the options. You have the first one, option A is 36, and the square root of 36 is 6. Can you see? This is a whole number. The B is 49. The square root of 49 is 7. C, the square root of 70 is not a whole number. Can you see? Then D, 81. The square root of 81 is 9. And E, the square root of 121 is 11. So what is our answer? Our answer is C, which is 70. So let's move to the next question. Then number 22, it says if a number multiplies itself to give 289, what is the number? Remember, the number multiplies itself to give 289. But the question is, do we know the number? We don't know the number. So let the number be x. Right? So remember that the number multiplied by itself, so that is x multiplied by itself to give us 289. So x times x is x squared equals to 289. So in order for us to remove this power, remember we are looking for x, not x squared. So we have to take the square root of both sides. So whenever you have square and you want to remove it, take the square root. So take the square root of both sides. Whatever you do to the left, you have to do it to the right. So this square will cancel this square root. You are left with x. And the square root of 289 is what? So you can find it using the prime number method. You have 289. What can go? The first prime number that can go is 17. And 289 divided by 17 is 17 times. What can go into 17 is only 17. 17 divided by 17 is 1. So you group it, since it is square root, right? You're looking for the square root of this. So if you group, you have a group of 17. So the square root of 289 is equals to 17. So that means x is equals to 17. That's the number. So let's check the options. From our option, the answer is E. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 23 says, if an orange costs p naira, right, how much will Q oranges cost? So the question says, one orange will cost how much? P naira, right? How much will Q oranges cost? So Q oranges will cost how much? We don't know. So we say Q oranges will cost how much? We don't know. So let it be X, right? Because this is our unknown. Is that not? So we're going to cross multiply. Cross multiply now, we will know that we have 1 times X is equals to P times what? P times Q, right? We have P times Q. So 1 times X is X equals to P times Q is PQ. So can you see? So now Q oranges will cost PQ naira. So X is equals to what? PQ naira. Remember, we're looking for what? X, this X here, right? So that's our answer, PQ naira. So let's check our options. From our option, the answer is E. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 24 says, simplify 2 raised to power 3 times 5 raised to power 2 close bracket divide by 5, right? So remember that 2 raised to power 3 is not 2 times 3. It's simply 2 in 3 places. And 5 raised to power 2 is not 2 times 5, but rather what? 2 is rather, it's not 5 times 2, but rather 5 in 2 places. So we're going to have 2 times 2 times 2. That's 2 in 3 places. Then our big times, this one here, then we have 5 in 2 places. 5 times 5. Then we have divide by 5. Right? So now 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So we have 8 times 5 times 5 is 25. So we have 25. Divide by 5. So 25 times 5. Let's multiply it and see. 8 times 25. Let's multiply it and see. 8 times 5 is 40. So put 0, carry 4. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 times 4 is 20. 8 times 2 is 16. And 16 plus 4 is 20. So we have 20. So we simply have 20, 200 here. 200 divided by 5. So 200 divided by 5. You can use long division. So let's use 200 divided by 5. So 20 divided by 5 is going to go 4 times. And 4 times 5 is 20. Then subtract. We have 0, right? Then bring down this 0 down. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 5 is 0. So our answer is 40. So 200 divided by 5 is 40. So our answer is 40. So let's check our option. Of course, we have C as the answer, right? So let's move to the next question, question 25. All right, question 25 says, Bello had 515 naira. So he had 515 naira and spent 218 naira on drugs. How much does he have left? So remember, the total cash he was having was what? 515 naira. Can you see? And he spent, we say spending or expenses is what? 218 naira, right? Can you see? So how are we going to get the amount left? So amount left is equals to total minus what? Spending. And what is our total? Our total is 515 naira minus 218 naira. So let's subtract it. So let's subtract it. We have 5 minus what? 280. 0 minus 0 is 0. 5 minus 8 is not possible. You borrow 1 from here. Mean what? 4. Put it here. 15 minus 8 is 7. Then 4 minus 2 is 2. So the amount he will be left with is 217 naira after buying drugs. So let's check our options. So the answer is D. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 26 says, find the value of x minus 3 if 14 plus x is equal to 3. So what are we going to do? We're going to solve this equation. After getting the value of x, then we'll now what? Substitute it here. We'll put it here. So let's see. Let's solve the equation. 14 plus x is equal to 3. So this is an algebraic equation. When we say an algebraic equation, is a combination of an alphabet and numbers, right? So when solving this kind of equation, we often collect like terms. That is, the numbers will move to one side and the alphabet will move to another side. And mind you, whenever a number or an alphabet crosses the equality sign, the sign will change. If it is plus, it will change to minus, and if it is minus, it will change to plus, right? And remember that any number that doesn't have any sign is positive. So like this 14 that is having empty sign, it is invisible plus, and this 3 is invisible plus. For this x, this is its sign. So now what are we going to do? We're going to simply move this 14 to come and meet 3, since all of them are numbers. So we'll be left with x is equal to 3 now Remember, it's having invisible plus here, it will change to minus. So minus 14, right? So you can use number line to solve this. Draw our number line. Here we have 0, 1, 2, 3. All right, using our number line now, we have 3 minus 14. Remember that on number line, the left hand side is minus, right? And the right hand side from 0 is plus. So whenever we say minus, we will take steps, the number of steps to the left, and if it's plus, we take number of steps to the right. So remember, we have 3, so we locate 3 on the number line, which is this, minus 14, so we're going to move 14 times to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 13, 14. So our answer is minus 11, right? X is equal to minus 11. So remember that this is not our answer. Why? Because we are asked to find x minus 3. So now wherever you see x here, we're going to put what? Minus 11. So now we're going to have x minus 3. Now will be, instead of x, will be what? Minus 11. So we have minus 11 minus 3. And minus 11 minus 3 is what? So where is minus 11 on our number line? Let's use our number line again. This is minus 11, right? So we'll move 3 times to the left. So we'll move this minus 11, right? We'll move 3 steps to the left, since it is minus 11, minus 3, right? So we'll say 1, 2, 3. Our answer is what? Minus 14. So we're going to say the answer is what? Minus 14. So let's check our option. So from our option now, the answer is E. So you can see they may likely put 14 to confuse it, but the answer is minus 14. So, all right, question 27 says the volume of a cube is 64 cm cube. So the volume is given as 64 centimeter cube, right? Find the length of the cube. So we should find the length. So now the question is, what is the formula for finding the volume of a cube? You know that the formula for finding the volume of a cube is given as volume is equals to length cube. Length cube, right? So now, but remember in our question, the volume has been given to us 64. So wherever we see volume, we're going to put what? 64. So we're going to have, instead of this volume now, we're going to have 64 is equals to L raised to power 3. So what are we going to do? We are looking for L, not L raised to power 3. We're going to simply take the cube root of both sides. So take the cube root so that we can remove the cube root. This is how we write cube root. So this 3 will cancel this cube root. Then we are left with what? The cube root of 64. What is that number they're going to multiply 3 times to give us 64? And it is what? 4, because 4 times 4 times 4 is 64. Can you see? So 64 is the number that when you multiply 3 times, we're going to get 64. So what are we going to do? We're going to say the cube root of 4 raised to power 3, right? Because 4 in 3 places is going to give us what? 64. So this 3 will cancel this 3. So you're left with L, right? So our answer now is this 4 that is left. So 4 is equals to L. When we say A is equals to B, that means B is equals to A, right? So if 4 is equals to L, that means L is equals to 4. So we say L. Even though there's another way of getting the cube root, you must not follow this method. If you are stranded, you can just set 64 using prime number. What can go? 2 can go. How many times? 32. What can go into 32? 2. How many times? 16 times. What can go into 16? 2. How many times? 8 times. What can go into 8? 2. How many times? 4 times. What can go? 2. How many times? 2. And what can go into 1? Right? So group them in threes since it is cube root. 1, 2, 3, grouping them in threes, 2, right? Then 1, 2, 3, 2. So we are having two group of the twos, which is 2 times 2. So is 2 times 2, which is 4. So can you see the same thing with this? So our length is 4 centimeters. So let's check our answer. From our answer, the answer is B, right? So let's check the next question. All right, question 28 says if 2x is question 28 says if 2x minus 18 is equals to 0, 2x minus 18 is equals to 0, we should find the value of x. This is also the same thing with the previous question. This is almost the same. This is almost similar with the question we solved previously. So what I'm going to do, we move the numbers to, so we say collect like terms. What are like terms? Those ones that are similar, right? They are looking the same. Numbers together and alphabets different. So remember that this minus is for this 18. So this 18 will have to move with its minus sign to this place. And once it crosses the equality sign, it's going to be plus 18. So we're going to be having 2x equals to 0 now plus 18 because it has crosses the equality sign. So we have 2x is equals to 0 plus 18 is 18. So remember, whenever we're looking for an alphabet, you divide both sides by the coefficient. So divide both sides by 2. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. So our x is equals to 9. So let's check our option. So the answer is E. So let's move to the next question. All right, question 29 says solve for y. So we should find what? Find y, right? So if y over 3 is equals to 2 plus y over 5. So what are we going to do? We are going to simply balance these two with 1. Then what else? We're going to take the LCM, right? Take the LCM of the denominators. What's the LCM of the denominators? That's 3, 1, and 5. So 3, 1, and 5. So what can go into 3, 1, and 5? Let's check it. We know the first prime number that can go is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Bring down this one usually. Then 5 divided by 3 is not possible. It's not going to go without remainder. So we'll write the 5 back. Then what can go is 5. 1, 1, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. So the LCM is 3 times 5, which is this number. And 3 times 5 is 15. I see. So the LCM here is 15. And you should note that whenever you take the LCM of the denominator of any fraction and there is an equality sign, if you finish taking the LCM, you cancel it. But we're not going to cancel it yet. We're going to say 15 divided by 3 is what? 5. And 5 times y is 5y. So 5 times y, right, is equals to 15 divided by 1 is 15, right? And 15 times 2. Then we have our plus now. Write it. Then 15 divided by 5 is 3. And 3 times y, right? So we're going to simply cancel the LCM. Why? Because there is an equality sign. This is another secret you should note, right? Then 5 times y is 5y, right? So we have 5y is equals to 15 times 2 is 30. Then plus 3 times y is 3y. So we have 3y. So remember, we'll collect like terms since it's an algebraic equation. Those with y will move to one side and those without y, that's number, will move to another side. So collect like terms. In collecting like terms now, this 3y will have to come to its brother here, 5y, right? So it will move here. And remember that it's having a what positive sign. This sign belongs to 3y. So it's going to change to negative number. So it's going to be 5y minus 3y is equals to now 30. So 5y minus 3y, that's 5 goats minus 3 goats. You're going to have what? Of course, 2 goats, right? Those 2y is equals to 30. And remember, we said that whenever you have a coefficient with an alphabet, if you want to find the alphabet, you divide it by the coefficient. So we have, remember, we have 2y equals to 30. So we divide both sides by 2. So these two will cancel this, and 30 divided by 2 is 15. So our y now is equals to 15. So our option, the answer is C. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 30 says, find the volume of a cylinder of radius 2 centimeters. So we have the radius 2 centimeters and a height of 14 centimeters. So height 14 centimeters. So what is the formula for calculating the volume of a cylinder? We know that in cylinder, volume is equals to pi r square h, where pi is 22 over 7. So we say pi is 22 over 7, right? And r is the radius. So we have our r here, and h is the height. So we have our h. Can you see? So let's substitute it into the equation. So we're going to have volume is equal to, what is our pi? 22 over 7 times, what is our r? We have 2 of the r, right? So we have 2 of the radius. So what is our radius? Is 2. So we are going to have 2 of them times 2 again, right? Since we have 2 and in 2 places. So times our h, which is our height. So 14 times 14. So you can balance one with 1, balance with 1, and balance with 1. So we're going to have 22. We're going to have 22 over 7 times 2 times 2 is 4. So we have 4 over 1 times 14 over 1. You know that 7 here is 1. 7 into 14 is 2, right? So we'll be left with what? 2 times 20. We'll be left with 22 times 4 times this 2, right? Times 2. So let's multiply. Let's first multiply 22 times 4. So we have 22 up here. 22 times 4. 4 times 2, 8. 4 times 2, 8. We have 8, 8. And 8 times 2. So we're going to multiply by 2. 8 times 2, or 2 times 8 is 16. Put 6, carry 1. 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. So is 176. So 176 centimeter cube. Can you see? So our answer is, the volume is 176 centimeter cube. So let's check our option. The answer is E, 176 centimeter cube. This one's supposed to be. Alright, question 31 says, if the area of a rectangle is 24 centimeter square. So we have seen that we have it that the area is also 24 centimeter square, and the length is 8 centimeters. So length is 8 centimeters. Find the breadth. So we have to find the breadth. We don't know, right? So what is the first thing to do? Okay, the first thing to do is to know the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle. And we know that the area of rectangle is given by area is equal to length times breadth, right? And we have been given the area. This area we've been given it as 24. So can you see it's easy. And the length here has been given as 8. So we'll substitute it. Wherever we see area, we'll put 24. And whenever we see length, we're going to put 8. So we're going to have instead of area we have 24 is equals to, what is our length? 8, right? Times, what is our breadth? We don't know, b. So this one will be 24 is equals to 8 times b is 8b. Then, so we are looking for b, right? Remember that this is an algebraic equation. So divide both sides by what? The coefficient of b, which is 8. Right? So 8 is 1. So 24 divided by 8 is 3, right? So 1 here is 3. So 3 is equals to b. That is, we can say b is equals to what? 3. So our answer is 3. So you have 3? Yes, the answer is E. So let's move to the next question. Question 32 says, find the value of x in the diagram. Where is the x? Here is the x that we're going to find. So remember that the sum of angles in a triangle is 180. That is, if you add this angle plus this angle and plus this, we should be able to have 180 degrees, right? So now we're going to use that to our advantage to get this x, since the other side have been given as 70 and 40. So in order to do that, we're going to say, we know that the sum of all the sides, x plus 40 plus the other side 70, if you add all of them, we're going to have the total of what? 180 degrees, since sum of angles in a triangle is 180 degrees. So these ones are numbers, you can add them. 40 plus 70, so we have x plus 40 plus 70, so let's add it there. 40 plus 70, 0. 7 plus 4 is 11, so we're going to have 110 is equals to 180 degrees. So what are we going to do? Of course, we are going to take this one to the other side, since it is a number. So we'll have x is equals to 180. Once it moves to the other side, it's going to be minus what? 110 degrees. So let's subtract 180 degrees minus 110. 180 minus 110. 0. 8 minus 1 is 7. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So our answer x is equals to what? 70 degrees. So let's check our options. The answer is C. Let's move to the next question. So question 33 says, find the area of a circle whose diameter is 14 centimeters. Take pi equals to 22 over 7. So we know that the diameter is 14 centimeters and pi is equals to 22 over 7. And we have to find the area, right? We don't know. So now, if you know the properties of a circle, you have something like this, right? You know that the line that is from the center to the circumference, you know that the line from the center to any point of the circumference is known as the radius, right? And any line from the circumference to the center, right, and through the center to another part of the circumference is called the diameter. So that means if you have a diameter, you can get the radius from it, right? So diameter is same as radius times 2. If you have a radius, you multiply by 2, you're going to get the diameter. And if you have a diameter, you want to get the radius, you just simply say diameter divided by 2. So now from this question, now we want to get our radius. We can say that our radius now is equals to the diameter divided by 2. And what is our diameter? 14 centimeters. So we're going to say 14 divided by 2, which is what? 7 centimeters. I see 7 centimeters. So this is the 7 centimeters we're going to use for the question. So now the area of a circle is given as what? Area equals to pi r square, right? So remember that our pi is 22 over 7 times r square. That means r in two places. So what is our r? We have seen that we've gotten our r, that our r is 7 centimeters. So we're going to say 7 in two places over 1 over 1. We know that 7 can cancel this 7 here. You're left with what? 22 times 7. You're left with 22 times 7. This 22 times this 7, right? So 22 times 7. So let's multiply it and see. So we're going to multiply 22 times 7. So let's multiply at the bottom here. 22 times 7. So 7 times 2 is 14. Put 4 carry 1. And 7 times 2 is 14 plus this one is 15, right? So we have 15. So our area is equal to 154 centimeter square. 154 centimeter square. So remember that whenever you have a diameter, always divide it by 2 to get the radius. So from our option here, the answer is C. Alright, 154. So let's move to the next question. So, alright, question 34 says, what is the value of y in the diagram below? So the question is, what type of triangle is this? Can you see something here? This is trying to tell you that it is 90 degrees. And any triangle that has 90 degrees in it is known as right angled triangle, because it's having a right angle there, right? So now, since we say it's right angled triangle is always having 3 sides. And what are those sides? The longest side is known as the hypotenuse. Then the side that is opposite to the hypotenuse, can you see it here? We said is called the opposite. And the bottom one is always called adjacent, because it's always adjacent to the hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent. So now the question is to calculate this y. How can we calculate this y? There is a rule called the Pythagoras rule. And the Pythagoras rule says that the square of the hypotenuse square is equal to the square of the opposite. So you take the opposite square plus the what? The adjacent square. Adjacent square. Can you see? The square of the hypotenuse is equal to the square of the opposite plus the square of the adjacent. So now this is the Pythagoras rule, and the Pythagoras rule is often used in solving the sides of right angled triangle. Remember that the hypotenuse is always the longest side. So let's use this formula to solve this equation. Now, what is our hypotenuse? Our hypotenuse is what? 13 centimeters. So we're going to have 13 square. Don't forget about the square. Then it's equal to, what is our opposite? Our opposite is 5, which will be what? 5 square. Plus what is our adjacent? Our adjacent is y, which is y square. Can you see? So what I'm going to do, we're going to collect like terms. That means this 5 will have to move where there's a number, leaving only y here. So we're going to have 13 square minus, remember when it crosses the equality sign, the sign will change, minus 5 square is equal to what? Y square. So 13 square is what? 13 times 13, right? So this is same as 13 times 13 minus 5 square, which is same as what? 5 in 2 places, right? Is equals to y square. And 13 times 13, let's multiply up here. We have 13 times 13. 3 times 3 is 9. And 3 times 1 is 3. Then 1 times 3 is 3. And 1 times 1 is 1. So add it. We're going to have 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. And we have 1. So we have 169 minus 5 times 5 is 25. Is equals to y square. Right? So 169 minus 25. So let's subtract 25 here. 9 minus 5 is 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. And we have our 1. So we're going to have 144 is equals to y square. Remember, I told you that whenever you want to find an alphabet that has a square root, you take the square root of both sides. So these two will cancel this square root, and the square root of 144 is 12. So we said 12 is equals to y. So that means y is equals to what? 12, right? So our y is equals to 12. That's C is the answer. See there? So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 35 says that the area of a rectangle is 60 centimeters square. So the area is equals to what? 60 centimeters square. Find the length of the rectangle if the breadth is 5 centimeters. So the length is not given and the breadth is given as 5 centimeters. So we know that the formula for calculating the area of a rectangle is given as what? Area is equals to length times what? Breadth, right? So we know that the area has been given as 60 centimeters. So instead of area, we're going to write what? So we're going to have 60 is equals to, what is our length? Our length is not given. So we write L times, what is our breadth? Our breadth has been given as 5 centimeters. So we have times what? 5, right? So we have 60 is equals to length times 5 is, L times 5 is 5L. So divide both sides by 5. 60 divided by 5. So if you count 60 and divide it by 5, you're going to have 60 oranges divided by 5 people. Each person is going to have 12 oranges, right? So 60 divided by 5 is 12. So 12 is equal to this L, right? L. So therefore, we can say that our L is equal to 12 centimeters. So let's check. Do you have? Of course, yes. E is the answer. So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 36 says, if 1 centimeter on a map represents 15 meters, so we say 1 centimeter is equal to what? 15 meters. What does 3.5 centimeters represent? So 3.5 centimeters represent what? We don't know. So x meters. Can you see? So if 1 centimeter will represent 15 centimeters, right? Then 3.5 centimeters will represent what? We don't know. So what are we going to do? We cross multiply, right? We cross multiply. X will multiply by 1 and 3.5 will multiply by 15. We're going to have what? 1 times x equals to 3.5 times 15. So 1 times x is x equals to 3.5 times 15. So let's multiply it. So let's multiply and see. 15 times 3.5. So 5 times 5 is 25. So put 5, carry 2, right? Then we're going to say 5 times 1 is 5 plus 2 is 7. Then now we say 3 times 5 is 15. Put 5, carry 1. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 6. Is 4. So we have 4. So if you add it, we're going to have 5. 7 plus 5 is 12. Put 2, carry 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. So that doesn't mean you're true. Move this point how many times? Once. So we're going to move this point inside once from the back. So our answer, our x is going to be 52.5 meters. So 3.5 centimeters will represent 52.5 meters. So let's check our answer. The answer is E. So let's move to the next one. Question. Alright, question 37 says calculate the circumference of a circle of radius 3.5. So radius is equals to 3.5 centimeters. Remember we have pi is equals to 22 over 7. Then and we are looking for the circumference. Remember Note that circumference is the same thing as the perimeter of the circle. So simply, the question is simply asking us to find the perimeter of the circle. So what is the perimeter of a circle? What is the formula for calculating the perimeter of a circle? Given as perimeter is equals to 2 pi r. Can you see? 2 pi r. So let's substitute it now. We have 2 times what is our pi? 22 over 7 times what is our r? 3.5 then over 1. Right? So we have this balance with 1. Then 3.5 here is 1. 3.5 here is 2. Can you see? And 2 here is 1. 2 here is 1. So you're left with only what? 22. So our perimeter or the circumference is equal to 22 centimeters. So note that circumference of a circle is the same thing as the perimeter of a cycle. So the answer is D, right? So let's move to the next question. Alright, question 38 says calculate the area of the shaded portion in the diagram. Right? So we have to calculate the area of the shaded portion. So in order for us to calculate the area of the shaded portion, we have to know the total area of the shape. So now we have to say the total area. Total area, of course, is a triangle, and we know the area of a triangle is given as area is equal to half base times height, right? So now we have, this is our base, 16 centimeters, the base now, and we have the height as 16 centimeters. It's a height. Done now. So we want to say this goes to 1 over 2. What is our base? 16 times what is our height? 16 also. So balance this with 1, balance it with 1. 2 here is 1, 2 here is 8. So we're left with what? 8 times 16. So let's multiply it. 16 here and 8. 8 times 6 is 48, right? So put 8 carry 4. 8 times 4 is 8 times 1 is 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. So it is close to 128 centimeter squared. That is the total area, right? And remember, if you can see, the shaded part is half of the shape. So you say the shaded part or shaded portion is equal to what? Half of the total. And so what I'm going to do, we're going to simply carry this total and divide it by 2. So we're going to say equals to 128 divided by 2. So 12 here divided by 2 is 6, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So 128 divided by 2 is going to be what? 64 centimeter square. Right? So this is the answer. So let's check our answer. So answer is D. Can you see? 64 centimeters. So just divide it by 2. If you divide by 2, you get the half of the triangle, which is the shaded part. So let's move to the next question. Alright, the second to the last question, question 39 says find the average of the following set of numbers. So what is average? Average is simply mean, right? And what is mean? It's just for us to add all the numbers and count the numbers, divide them by the number of numbers. So don't be confused. Average or mean is the sum of numbers divided by their numbers. So we have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and 11. How many numbers do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. Is that no? We have 6 numbers. So we're going to add all these 6 numbers. We're going to have 1 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 11. Divide by their total, which is what? Divide by their numbers. We have 6 of them, so divide by 6. So 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 5 is 9. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 9 is 25. And 25 plus 11 is 36. So we're going to have 36 over 6. So 36 divided by 6 is 6, right? So that's the average. So let's check our options. Our option, the answer is B, right? So remember, average or mean is the sum of numbers divided by their numbers. So let's see our last question. All right. Number 40. That's the last question. Says, find the mode of the set of numbers. Find the mode of the set of numbers. 4, 3, 7, 5, 3, 6, 7, and 3. So the question is, what is mode? Mode is the number that appeared most or has the highest frequency, right? So frequency, highest frequency, anyone you choose. So now, which of the number has the highest appearance? Of course, we have 3. How many of them? 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And there's no any number that appear 3 times, right? So 3 is the mode. The answer is E. Alright. If you've been following, congratulations. We've come to the end of the videos. I believe by now you can see what you're capable of doing. You can measure your weakness and your strength. Remember that learning doesn't stop here and doesn't stop by practicing only one question, 1 year exam question. So try your possible best and lay your hands on as many years as possible, because the higher questions you study, the higher the chance of you to score higher, right? Remember, if you want to support this channel, you can like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.